Hello and welcome back. So this is the Tier 7 Force Recon ship that I was talking about before. Now I did pick this ship because it did catch my interest because of its attributes and because of its overall bonus per skill levels. Now I'll be showing you the skill levels in a moment, but first I have to say something about the ship's appearance. Now I think this might be by far my favorite ship by design. I do like the colors of it, and of course I do like the overall Arbitrator design. It is kind of a iconic design for this ship, and it kind of reminds me of the Pilgrim from EVE Online. Now for the traits, this is a Covert Op ship, and as a roll bonus you will get a Covert Ops clocking device +1. And as advanced micro warp drive operation bonus level gets increased, you will get +7.5% weapon disruptor strength, -10% warp drive signature radius penalty, and of course the other skills that are also important are the advanced cruiser command bonus per level skills that will give you -4% signature radius, +20% drone DPS, and +3 km drone control range. Overall, it is a nice upgrade over the Vexter Navy in terms of drone DPS bonus. Now this ship can hold 4 drones. It does have 2 high slots, 3 medium slots, and 4 low slots, 3 combat rigs and 3 engineering rigs, which is a upgrade over the older ships that have 2 rig slots each. And overall the other stats are pretty nice. The ship's warp speed is very fast, and overall the ship's velocity is also very fast for a cruiser, and that speed can be also increased with rigs. Now as for my fitting, I do have as prime weapon rapid missile launchers, but of course you can change that with lasers, or you can change that with any other weapon that you like. Because this ship does have only 2 high slots, any weapon that you might like to have there will work. And in my case I will mostly use the weapons that do have the highest range and the weapons that I have the best skills for. Now in this video I'll be using, I think, missiles and decomposers. Yeah, you can actually fit the decomposers on this ship, and they actually do quite a nice amount of damage. And of course I also have decent decomposer skills, but I think I'll be also using missiles, mainly because I also have decent skills for the missile launchers. Now in the medium slots you can use a disruptor combined with 2 webs, or you can use a disruptor combined with 2 Nosferatus or 2 webs for PvP, and of course you can keep that fit for PVE and other anomalies and other encounters. But in my case I also like to use neutralizers on the ship, and of course you can also use a triple Nosferatu fit or a triple neutralizer fit. That also will work in PvP, but you have to be careful around your capacitor because the capacitor will run down very quickly, and that can be countered if you put the capacitor rigs in the engineering slots. Now throughout this video I'll be mostly using the dual energy neutralizer combined with a Webifer, and this time I'll be mostly using faction equipment because I mostly got all of these modules from missions, and some of these modules I also did buy. For the drones I will use Mark 5 Vespas that will be soon changed to Mark 7 medium drones, and the Mark 7 medium drones will have a decent damage upgrade over the Mark 5 ones, but for that I need ISK, and I'll be doing missions to get enough ISK to actually buy the Mark 7 drones, because I do need higher tier drones for better DPS. Now this is the Covert Ops clocking device, and bombers, for example, will not have the clocking targeting delay because bombers do have that speciality, while this ship will have the targeting delay, and that targeting delay is usually around 30 seconds. And for the drone damage modules I do use the drone damage amplifiers. Now you will see me change the damage amplifier into the omnidirectional tracking link from time to time just to see which one will work best, but I will start with the dual drone damage amplifiers. And with this fit, I do have around 450 to 500 DPS with these drones, and I do have a medium micro warp drive for the ship's velocity. Now it will be time to jump in and let's see what the ship can do. Okay, so keep in mind, when you warp in at these sites, if you warp in cloaked, be prepared to wait 30 seconds before you can lock onto any target. That is because of the lock-on delay that these ships do have. During those 30 seconds, the ship is vulnerable and you can easily be shot down by enemy fleets or even these rats if you warp in close. Now, I used this ship in the similar way as I used my Vexor Navy, with the difference that this ship does have a longer drone control range, which does help a lot, and this ship also has a higher damage bonus. That means that this ship will do more damage than the Vexor Navy, despite having only 4 drones in its slots. Now, that also kind of reminds me on the situation that is also noticeable on the Gila. The Gila, for example, has only 2 drones, but these 2 drones have a enormous bonus on damage, and the Gila's drones, for example, will do a lot damage. Now, this ship does have a 20% drone DPS bonus per level, which is quite nice, and it does compensate for the lack of 1 drone. As for the drones, I did think about buying the thermal drones, and I will buy the thermal drones as well as the other damage types, because I will need most of these drones if I want to do PvP, because of the reason that different ships will have different weaknesses and of course different holes on the resistance, and having mixed drones will be a very interesting thing to test out. Now here I do use the decomposers, and the decomposers do quite a nice amount of damage, I must say. I find it very odd that I can use decomposers so well on ships that do not have the speciality in utilizing the decomposers, but those are the decomposers, and they are still known to be very powerful weapons that are widely used. Now I find it interesting. I remember in the last beta I did see decomposers being used on the battlecruisers, on the other faction battlecruisers, and they did perform quite well actually. I remember seeing someone have around 1.5 thousand DPS on a Amar battlecruiser using decomposers, and that was kind of funny. Unfortunately, I mostly kept using the decomposers on the ship, on the new faction ship, and I didn't have enough time to test out the other fits. But this time I will have that required time, and I will be attempting to use decomposers on a wide array of other ships. But so far the drones are doing a decent amount of damage, and I will be excited to see how the Mark 7 drones will perform on this ship, and it will be very interesting to see if this ship actually has a better damage output than the Vexor Navy. But so far I can say that there is a increase that is noticeable, and in a way this ship is more effective than the Vexor Navy. But of course keep in mind, the Vexor Navy will have the 5th drone in the slots, and it can use 5 drones in combat, which is in some situations better than to have only 4 drones. But this ship also does come with other bonuses on the velocity and on the micro warp drive, which is quite nice, and I do like that aspect of this ship a lot. Now, I did look at the other Covert Ops cruisers, and they quite didn't catch my interest, because most of them have a special purpose. Some of them use to reduce the target's range. Some of them can be used to prevent targets from locking on. Those ships are the ships that I at the moment don't need. I need a ship that can do decent amount of DPS and that can cloak. In that case, the Arbitrator Covert does fulfill all the requirements that I need, and this ship is the ship that I eventually did buy. So far I can say that I am quite satisfied with its performance, and this mission has been completed. Now, it will be very interesting to see how will this ship perform in a storyline mission. Now here you can see me change some modules, and I will now use the rapid missiles on the ship. But first I was curious to see how much DPS I can get with the other weapons, and the missile launchers do give the highest DPS from all the weapons that I currently have here, but the decomposers do offer the highest alpha damage that I can have. So it is very interesting to experiment around, to play around with all of these different weapons. But for the storyline mission that is now upcoming, I'll be using the rapid missile launchers because they are kind of safer and I do have very decent skills for the missiles. Now here you are going to see what the target delay will be, and I did uncloak, and I can't lock on any ship for the next 30 seconds. So in Alright, sorry for the weird cut. Now for PvP, I can use this ship for PvP, but I need to be very tactical, and I have to be also very careful because of the cloak targeting delay. And if you plan to use the ship as a bomber, that's not gonna work because most targets will warp off before you can lock on them. So a good idea is to first scout the area that you want to hunt players in, and then warp out. And if you see someone warping in, then you warp out, you uncloak, and then you return to the field at the required distance, and then you can safely engage the targets, because that way, if you uncloak while you warp, you have enough time for the target delay to disappear, and after that, when you warp in, you can catch most targets. Now, honestly, I do find the 30 seconds kind of too much. If it were, for example, 5 seconds, then that would be more acceptable, but 30 seconds does limit the ship's usability in PvP. But one thing where these ships will be excellent at is scouting. Of course, you also have the frigates that can be used for scouting. The Covert frigates are excellent for that job. But this ship, besides scouting, can also be used in PvP, and you can kind of create an ambush that consists of these Covert ships, or these ships can be quite a decent asset in fleets. For example, the Blackbird Covert can be used to jam enemy ships. The Celestis can be used to reduce the enemy ship weapon tracking, which is also very useful. So these ships can be used in fleets, and they do have a very nice purpose in that case. Now, the Arbitrator Covert can, besides that, be used in solo PvP, mostly because the ship does have very nice drone damage DPS bonus and overall drone damage bonus. The only thing that prevents it from being very efficient at that job is the cloak reactivation delay, and of course the cloak targeting delay. If it were 5 seconds, then it would be more acceptable, but it is 30 seconds, so you are required to plan out your attack before executing it. So be careful around, you have to be very careful around that. But back to the mission here. So far, I don't see a problem with this ship, and with this fit, it is performing quite well, quite nice. the damage output and the drone control range are very nice, and of course I will increase them with better rigs for that. Speaking of rigs, I do have the rigs that increase the drone control range. Of course, you can change that into drone damage for PvP, because if you do PvP with this ship, you are going to engage targets at close range. And I do think that I will attempt to do that very soon. I need to get better drones, because Mark 5 drones are kind of already outdated for PvP. Okay, let's see, now that Manticore will be the next target, and after that I'll be jumping on that MOA. This ship is very good for this job, and so far it is doing a very good job for a covert op ship, and very soon I will also be attempting to do the tier 7, tier 7, tier 8 and tier 10 storyline missions, because I will have the required range and the required drone DPS for those missions, which will be very interesting to see how this ship will perform at those, because these missions can be quite tricky and quite difficult. Now I know I was recommended to buy the Prophecy, and I will buy the Prophecy very soon. I will be doing the storyline missions now, and I will save up the ISK for a battlecruiser, and that battlecruiser will be the Prophecy. That ship is... I did look at its statistics and at its stats, and it is quite a decent ship. I do like it, and I will get that ship very soon. But at the moment I will play around with this covert op ship. Now this ship will allow me to return to my home system very soon. My home system in Nullsack, that I was separated from for at least 4 weeks now, because there were constant gate camps every 5 jumps, and I almost died a couple times because I wasn't careful enough. But with a cloaking device and with this ship I will be able to return there very easily. That means I will finally continue to do the anomalies, and hopefully I will also encounter some Inquisitor and Scout anomalies. I did not do these missions in a while, mostly because of how occupied all the systems are, but in the home system and in the pocket where the corporation where I'm at is, it will be very easy, and hopefully I'll be able to get some very nice loot over there. Okay, well, that MOA went down, that elite ship was destroyed, now the Manticore will be destroyed. So far the ship is performing, I'd say, a little bit better than the Vexor Navy. Of course the ship does have some very nice bonuses over the Vexor Navy, and it does have the extra covert ops module that I will be using. Okay, the next target will be that frigate. That frigate is a easy target. It is close, but they cannot do too much damage on my ship. Okay, next target will be that cormorant. And as you can see, the ship does perform quite well, and so far I am very satisfied with its performance. Okay, that will be the next target, and after that I'll be switching to that Caracal. Okay, sorry for the weird cut, I had a phone call. Now let's see. Okay, I will approach that elite MOA now. The elite ships are usually my personal primary targets, because they do have very nice loot, and of course they do have very nice bounties that I do want to get as quickly as possible. And of course the elite ships do represent a higher threat level than the other ships, and they need to be eliminated as quickly as possible. You can see all these different wrecks, and this wave does have 30 ships. So it will be quite a ride flying the ship and taking out all of these targets. Now, I find it very odd that there aren't any weapon enhancement modules that do increase the drone control range. I did expect to see those, and if there were any modules that do increase the drone control range, I would absolutely got one or two, because I do need the drone control range over anything at the moment, because that does allow me to send drones from very long distances, which is perfect for these missions. Now, as you could see, so far I mostly fly ships that do have decent DPS, but these ships also don't have very impressive tanks. And the Arbitrator Covert, for example, does not have a decent tank. Now, I can try to make this ship tanky, but I think that's not the main role and that's not the main purpose of a Covert ship. These ships are designed to sneak up on targets, and of course they're designed to scout, and of course they are designed for special operations, or should I say they're similar to the tactical destroyers, but in this case you can call them tactical cruisers because they can be used in tactical situations. Fleets that do have these ships are going to be interesting, and very soon, hopefully very soon, I'll be able to participate in a fleet because I'll be able to return to my home system. So it will be very interesting to see how the ship will perform in PvP. The one thing that I still see that needs to be changed is the cloak targeting delay, because 30 seconds is just too much, and so far I am not aware that I can reduce the cloak targeting delay. It is 30 seconds on all Covert modules, including the faction ones, so that is kind of weird, but I guess I'll be adapting to that, and hopefully in the future the developers will kind of tweak that out a little bit. Okay, well, this frigate is not going down easily. I don't know what happened there. That frigate is quite tanky. Now, I did mention that this ship is very fast, and this ship at the moment does not have any rigs that do increase its velocity, so this is the base speed of this ship, and I can tell you this ship is actually very fast. I will make it at least up to 2.5 kilometers per second with the MVD on, and that will be very interesting because that might be my fastest cruiser that I did fly so far. I think my Vector Navy goes around 1.7 kilometers per second, and it does have 1 or 2 rigs for ship velocity. This ship does not have these rigs at the moment, and that means I can actually make this ship be a lot faster than it is right now. Okay, well, 23 more ships left to be shot down, and I can tell you so far I did clear this storyline a lot faster than with my Vector Navy. That is mostly because of the drone damage bonus that the ship comes with, and of course if I did have 2 drone damage amplifiers, the DPS would be a lot higher, which will improve the overall mission clear time. And I can say finally that I am ready to jump on the tier 8 and tier 10 storylines. This ship will allow me to do that. Of course, I think that I will have to change some of the low slot modules. Perhaps I might have to do something of a armor tank in case anything goes wrong, combined with 3 Nosferatus, because the capacity will be lacking in that case. But at the moment I am very satisfied with the ship, and I will have fun flying it. Hopefully I'll be able to use the ship in PvP. I still do have to come up with a tactic to use the ship with this cloak reactivation delay, and of course with the targeting lock delay. So that will be interesting to experiment with. Okay, well, that elite destroyer is doing a lot of damage, but thankfully the ship is very fast and I can increase distance between my ship and that destroyer very rapidly. And I can snipe the destroyer with my drones from this range. That sounded very weird, I have to admit. Sniping with drones. Well, I guess it kind of is true, but at the same time it's not, because drones do have short range. I do have high drone control range, so those are two different things. Well, it will be time to end the first part for this ship here. So far I have to say a very impressive ship, and it is absolutely worth to get one. And for PvP and for PvE, this ship might be very useful. With that being said, I hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions or if you have any recommendations, feel free to tell them in the comments down below. I'll be sure to read all of them. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.